And we are rolling. What is going on with everybody? It is your boy, Eric, aka Young God, coming to you in the Orange Dungeon, giving it to you real raw rugged. And I got somebody on the other line right now, but I'm gonna let him introduce himself, man. Who do we have?
What up, man? It's DJ EFN, one half of Drink Champs, Crazy Hood Productions, and all that.
Hey, man, how you doing today?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
So I've this is you're my second interview of the year, so shout out to that. And I've been interviewing a lot of legendary people so far. Well, two. I got
Yo, congrats, man.
got Charles Hamilton, and now I got you,
Oh,
man.
shit.
So me and Charles Hamilton talked about Sonic for a little bit,
Okay.
and now I got a
He
Florida.
came up recently in a Drink Champs episode. I don't know if we released it yet. I think we did. But he came up recently.
Do you remember who it was?
Man, I don't remember off top. Because remember, we drink, so my memory of these interviews is blurry. But, nah, I don't remember. But it's theirs. We talked about it.
Have you ever met him before?
Yeah, I believe so. I've met him in the past.
Interesting
During
guy.
my whole mixtape circuit time frame. I think he might have done a freestyle for me in one of my mixtapes back in the days.
That era where he came up in, that was like 2010, 2009 era, right? I
Yeah.
would say that was an interesting era for rap. And you're way more in the industry than I am. That was like the blog era and the really heavy mixtape era. And I know you were really dominating the mixtapes at that time. Like, is it different now? What's the biggest difference to you now from that era?
I mean, actually, that era, I was coming off of doing a lot of the mixtape stuff because really my peak of mixtapes was probably end of the 90s, early 2000s. That was like probably when I peaked doing my mixtape stuff. But once mixtapes got more digital and it was CDs, and then it became like artist heavy, where artists were just doing like full projects, calling them mixtapes. Then like that whole mixtape scene that I came from kind of started dying out, and then I got heavy into I looked at like my website crazyhood.com and the whole blogging thing, kind of like a new way of like kind of doing. It's like the new mixtape,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's where I did in that era. I was heavy on that, and I had already had a website. Like my crew, my company and all that. In '94, we launched our website, and I always like like hit myself because I feel like we had a website early. We were early in the game in terms of like hip hop and music websites, but we didn't take advantage of like really learning the technology and like being really ahead of the curve. Even though we were ahead of having the domain and the site and kind of having that there already, but it wasn't until like the mid 2000 like tens, like 2005, that I started to really get on that. But yeah, like end of like 2000, like you mentioned, like the blog era, like I was big into that too.
Is it safe to say the mixtape as we know it is dead? I feel like it's dead.
I mean, it depends because the mixtape as you know it depends on the generation you're from.
Mm.
The mixtape as I know it, which is I started doing mixtapes on cassette tapes.
Yeah.
And the difference of that culture is that when someone got your mixtape and listened to it, they couldn't just skip through music, skip through the tracks. So they were invested in whatever the DJ was. So they really wasn't. They was fucking with the DJ.
Yeah.
So it became a little different. Once you got to CDs, then people just looked at the track listing, and they didn't care, how the DJ mixed it, how they blended, if they talked over it, or what they were doing. They just wanted to get to those tracks, and so that kind of changed it. So the mixtape era, as I lived it, is dead.
So comparing the mixtape era from you were there like when it first started popping off to where
Yeah,
the next generation where you got the Lil Wayne and the mixtape era.
right.
Like personally, like which era was your favorite? Like the era that you enjoyed the most music, or maybe had the best times, or which era do you prefer?
I mean, I like my era. I like the cassette tape mixtape era because to me mixtapes are a form for DJs to
Mm-hmm.
exploit. And the era you're talking about, when it comes to Lil Wayne and the artists, that's when the artists kind of decided they were circumventing. What it was a business thing. They were kind of circumventing the model of the industry and the labels of how they put out music, and so they were just putting out music underground, and they were just calling them mixtapes. But they were just full projects of one artist, basically, usually.
Yeah.
But I come from the era where a mixtape really meant it was a DJ thing. And DJs did different things on these mixtapes. You had DJs that were into like turntablism and did all kinds of scratches and blends and stuff and tricks, and you could hear that. If you wanted to get exclusive tracks, you got like a DJ Clue mixtape back in the days. Different DJs were just about getting exclusives. And you can count on those guys to give you something that you're not hearing on the radio, you're not hearing anywhere else. Or blends. People just match up vocals with different instrumental. There was a whole DJ culture thing, and it shifted. So my favorite era is the DJ culture era of mixtapes.
I know the DJ culture today gotta have you sick. I got a homeboy, and he was like, "Hey man, you should come out to my I'm DJing tonight." I was like, "Nigga, you DJ?" He's like, "Bro, I've been doing it for a minute." I was like, I don't really leave the house like that. So I'm like, you know what,
Right.
man, I'm gonna leave the house and I'm gonna go and watch him DJ. So I go in there. He's like, "Hey, bro, come up to the DJ booth." So I'm in the DJ booth. I'm like, "All right, let's see what he's finna do." So I don't see like a turntable or anything. So I'm like,
Right.
I'm like, I don't know. Maybe it's like finna come through. Maybe he's like getting out of the car or something. So he gets on the mic. He said, "Y'all ready for this?" Everybody's like, "Yeah." I'm like, this nigga still doesn't have any turntables. This nigga pull out his phone, hook it up to the aux cord. Nigga say, "Let's get into it." Nigga start playing Apple Music. I'm like, nigga, I could have did this, and like the nigga really into it. Like and then like how sometimes DJs like may turn the song down, they may talk. He like turns the
Yeah.
song down for Apple Music, turns it back up. I'm like, bro, like I never wanted to like beat a nigga up so bad. I'm like, bro, you are
Right.
annoying. So you being a DJ, because I'm not a DJ at all. How do you
Right.
feel about those type of DJs?
I mean, I don't like it, but can I get mad at it if someone grows up and they don't even know any better? And that to them is DJ.
Yeah,
Like I can't be like it's like you can't be mad. What came first, the chicken or the egg? Like I mean, the technology's there. Why not take advantage of it? If you love music, you gonna fuck with it. If someone's gonna give you the opportunity to DJ like that, who's in the wrong? Is it the guy doing it, or the guy giving them the opportunity, the club or whatever? Is it the people listening that are kind of stupid? Like it just, I can't really be mad at everybody. You be just in, I don't like it though, because it does take away from real DJs and what DJs have done, and especially if you're like a hip hop head, DJs are the cornerstone of hip hop. Without the DJ, there is no hip hop. Just plain and simple. So I feel like the generation today, not to their fault, they don't they don't know that, they don't care about it anymore. Like the history is lost. So it's like to them a DJ is really just anybody controlling like anything, playing music. Everybody's a DJ.
it always sucks to see art form, especially black art forms because I'm black. But it sucks to see art forms like watered down. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And I feel like I wouldn't say hip hop is watered down, but sometimes it feels like that. And I feel like the main reason is because of the internet. Like I feel like the internet is like the biggest gift and the biggest curse that's probably ever been
absolutely.
delivered in human history because
Yeah,
it's so easy to water it down. Because I mean, back in the day, anybody couldn't just make a song. Like you had to go to a studio, you maybe got to know a
yep,
producer, you got to
yep.
know this. Literally, I could make a song in about 10 minutes with my MacBook right now with a
Probably
janky,
less than 10 minutes.
less than 10 minutes. And like sometimes, and now like a lot of rappers they don't say words sometimes. Like literally just
Right.
niggas like I just
The beat
make
shit.
I just
Yeah,
making it's like come
yeah.
on. So anybody can do that. So I mean, you being pre-internet era before everybody could have a SoundCloud,
Right.
like just the progression like what is your mindset as you're seeing the progression of rap being introduced to internet and how internet has influenced it so hard like what's your perception of that.
I mean, look, when me just as a fan of the culture and kind of living the culture as a fan, it was like I used to tell people, I don't know if everybody understands this analogy because maybe as a generation's past, this doesn't even exist anymore. But you remember, like in high school era, like you had the different groups, and you had like the gothic kids and the sports kids and this, that, and the other. And like the gothic kids, I always say they were like the small group. You knew it was them. They're all wearing black and
Yeah.
black makeup. It was like a small group of people. In my era, in like the early '90s when I was in high school, that's what the hip hop kids were. We were
Hmm.
like that small group. Everybody knew that you was the hip hop heads because you dressed a certain way, you talked a certain way, you listened to certain kind of music. And in my city, in Miami specifically, it was damn near. If we went to like a party, you damn near saw all the hip hop heads in the city. Like there was probably a couple thousand of us in the entire city
Hmm.
that were hip hop heads.
Hmm.
And so what happens as time goes on and the music becomes more and more popular, more and more commercialized, it brings more people in the fold, and that's good and bad. It's good because people that are creating the art get to feed their families. You're creating wealth for people who probably wouldn't have had that kind of wealth, and that's good. But in the bad side of it, the art form suffers because then people see, oh shit, there's money over there, and then when people identify something with making money and kind of getting fame, also that's the other side of it. and this is where the internet and social media, just fame in general. Sometimes people don't even care about money; they prefer fame over money sometimes. Then that's when you start to water things down. You start to pervert things. People don't care. What's rapping? Rapping is whatever. If I could just put syllables on a beat, then I'm rapping. What's a beat? Who gives a fuck? Just fucking, I can make a beat. It's that's what sucks about it. But I'm grateful because I lived that era where I saw it was like the purity of it. There was a pure form of it. Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of people that talk about like the older era, like our parents or our grandparents, they always say everything was better.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that were wrong also with hip hop too. Like hip hop was very closed minded for us down south. New York had like a stranglehold on it, and they looked at everybody else as non hip hop. Like, oh, you talk weird, you Bama down south, or West Coast talk weird, this, that. And that sucked about that era too, and that's why there was such a backlash, and the South kind of like took over, and the West Coast at first took over, and the South went ham with it because New York held so tight and didn't accept anybody. So that's the bad side. But yeah, I mean, it sucks because you see now something that was held so dear to like a certain group of people, and everybody felt like this is our thing. It kind of everybody's thing now, and it's like whatever they want it to be, it is. And like a lot of people that claim to be rappers now that basically just sing.
Yeah.
wouldn't have been rappers. They weren't a part of hip hop. They were in the R&B section. They were in the R&B world. They wouldn't be classified as hip hop. And now it's all like mashed together. It's like you don't even know what's what anymore. And that's what kind of sucks.
I think it's interesting that you brought up people kind of like romanticizing the past, like parents, grandparents. And the people that romanticize the past now are people that didn't live in the past. So it's like people my age. So like I'll see somebody be like, yo, love isn't the same anymore. Back in the 80s, they used to like really love each other. I'm like, nigga, in the 80s, them niggas was doing cocaine and beating bitches up. Like, what is it? Like, nigga, every soul singer in the 70s and 80s, not, I don't even put it on everybody, but most of them niggas was beating up bitches. Like, niggas was beating up girls, they was doing cocaine, they was wildin'. They was wildin'. So, I feel like that's a very dangerous thing to romanticize the past. But on the very opposite hand, when I look at music from the 70s and the 80s, it's so much good music from like coming from that era. And I have a theory. I want to see if you agree with this or not.
Yeah.
My theory on this is the music was so good, black music specifically, what I'm talking about, from the 70s and 80s, is because it involved instruments, and those people, and plus those people could actually sing. So I feel like when you have an instrument in a song, a violin or a guitar, that's going to evoke emotion because it's a raw instrument, and instruments evoke emotion. That's like what it does. And when you can sing, that's also an instrument with your voice, and you're also evoking emotion when it's good vocals. Like when you listen to a Bobby Womack or a Marvin Gaye song, that evokes emotions from their vocals. But now I feel like a lot of people really don't use instruments. A lot of instruments, that is, it's all computerized, and that's very synthetic, and that's not real. So that's not going to evoke the same emotion as a real instrument. And a lot of people really can't sing that well anymore. So it's like, where's the emotion supposed to come from? And I feel like a lot of music that's really good and really great comes from raw emotion. So I'm curious what you think about that.
I mean, I agree. I also think that it has a lot to do with, so the best music comes out of like struggle.
Yeah.
So people who struggled, like, and I'm just talking about more about like the struggle in terms of like making their music.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. I mean, of course, their life struggle makes great music
Yeah.
too. But I'm talking about the struggle of being able to make the music and have a career in music. That creates to me great music. And also like we complain about the gatekeepers, which I don't agree with, like the way that the music industry was set up and how it was built and how there was gatekeepers. But because of those gatekeepers and that struggle to be able to record music, you either had to have money to get in the studio, which most people don't have or didn't have, and if not, you needed to be so damn good that it raised an eyebrow that people wanted to bring you in the studio and invest in you to be in the studio and create music. So usually those gatekeepers or that struggle to get into the studio alone produced the best musicians because it filtered out the bullshit. And then the people who didn't really care about going through that struggle, they're not fucking with that. They're like, I'm not that serious about that. So you weed out a lot of people. Where going back to the other point now, like, I may not really care about music, but I'm like, shit, if I want to get some fame, or maybe I think I can make money making music, fuck, I'll try to make a demo on my laptop. My boy makes beats. My boy has a little home studio. It ain't nothing for anybody and everybody to try to make music. And if something hits, because everybody's just, it's millions of things being thrown out there, you know, and it's like the lottery shit. Just, you know, something goes viral, then boom, then someone made it, but they didn't have that struggle. They didn't go through those. They didn't pay their dues. Is basically what it
Yeah.
boils down to. It's paying dues. And if you didn't pay your dues and you didn't go through that struggle, you don't have that like appreciation for that journey, and therefore it's like, whatever, man. I'll make another hit tomorrow. Yaka 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 yaka. Bam, it's a hit. You know.
You might need to get a studio with that, man. I'm like, wow, man. Yaga 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 on the bitch, yaga yaga. Hey, that might be fire,
Yaka
man.
yaka.
But no, it's interesting that you brought up your music had to be good to raise an eyebrow for somebody to even want to work with you. And my homeboy Kim Bishop, he says it all the time. He says we need to stop calling everything hating. Some people just need to be told that they're not good, and they
Yeah,
need to
straight up.
either stop doing it or they need to work on it some more. Because
Right.
you know when you be like, ah, this isn't good, or you just hating on this person. It's like, nah, I think that person needs to work on their craft or just probably stop working at all. And like,
Right.
is that ever a thing that, because you know a lot of say like the old heads are hating or whatever. Have you ever been
Yeah.
deemed
Yeah,
as
yeah.
as a hating old head?
Yeah, of course, of
Really?
course. I mean, look at me. I got a white ass beard. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Anything I say, people are gonna say, "Oh, you hating." I mean, I definitely don't consider it hating. I think that, you know, if you worked and lived in this music, you paid your dues, you put in your years, you have every right to critique it. You actually are one of the few people that have the right to critique it because you're a part of the culture, you're part of the industry or whatever. Now, anybody, just because they got a Twitter handle or IG handle or whatever, they don't. I feel like that's hating. You know, if
Yeah.
they're just talking, you know, they're trolling or whatever. I'm never coming from a bad place. I'm really coming because I want to preserve the culture. You know, I'm not saying I'm right or wrong, because at the end of the day, we do have to understand art is art and art is subjective. So what I think is trash, the next person might think that shit is fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand that. You know what I'm saying? And I actually can live with that, because I do believe in art. I actually do believe in the whole thing of like, create your art, express yourself. Everybody has the right to. But now I also have the right to critique art,
Yeah.
based on whatever criteria I gave it, because I've been in it so long. You don't have to agree with me, but I have the right to say it, and I don't think people should call that hating.
You definitely have the right, because, like I said, you are definitely a Florida legend. And I was going to start the interview like this, but we went somewhere else. But yeah, man, I was very hyped to this interview just off the fact that you are a Florida legend. And there's so many questions I have about Florida, because I am a Florida boy. I'm from Jacksonville. And
Okay.
by the way, just went to Miami for the first time for Art Basel. I love Miami. Miami was great. You have a great
Miami's
city.
crazy.
It's great. I went to LA, thought I was going to love it. Terrible. It
No,
was
you didn't like
terrible. Didn't like it. I seen no big butts. It was literally not one girl with one big butt. Went to Miami.
Oh yeah, that's the LA problem, unfortunately.
Went to Miami. Everybody had a big butt. Everybody in LA is either vegan or on cocaine. Like I was in the car with one person, and they were like they were about to go home. They're about to drop us off to go home, and this is a person of notoriety. They say, "Yeah." I said, "What are you gonna do when you get home?" He's like, "I don't know. Probably like watch TV." Take a shower, do some coke, probably play the game. I was like, whoa! They said so like, yeah, I'm just gonna do some
Yeah,
coke.
Coke is making a weird comeback. I don't
It's
know what's going on. Coke is making a weird comeback. It's like the '80s all over again. These motherfuckers.
and it's so
But
casual.
hey, but LA got beautiful women, but Miami, we got the bodies. Man. That's the thing. We got the bodies.
Man, Art Basel should have been Art Booty, man. It was artful out there, man. I loved it. So
That should be a thing.
it needs to. It was beautiful. So
That's like Freaknik, all the art booty.
hey, that's it. Definitely needs to be that. So so yeah, like I said, you being a Florida legend, goodness gracious, I gotta start off like this. So I'm on the phone this morning talking to somebody about. I think if somebody said this person right here that I'm finna say has the most iconic music and legendary music to ever come out of Florida, I can't even be mad. And I want to interview this guy, but it's impossible to find this man. I cannot find this guy whatsoever
Right.
save my life. So I want to know, have you ever met this guy? What all do you know about this guy? But man, DJ Chipman might be one of the most iconic people to ever come out of Florida. What's your thoughts on that?
Never met him.
Never met him. Do you know about DJ Chipman?
Nah.
You know about that's the dude who made Peanut Butter Jelly Time, Wu Tang, Stick It and Roll It. That guy, yeah, Ice Cream and Creamy Cake, and nobody knows his name, but we all know his songs.
Oh yeah, for sure. The music is there. Yeah.
So I didn't know if it might.
Actually, you know what? I think I have met him now that you say the records, because I've been at a lot of shows with those guys performing those records.
Yeah.
I forget the name of the group that was doing all that stuff, or was it just his music?
I mean, I think it's just him. I think it's DJ Chipman.
But he had like people going out there dancing or
Yeah,
whatever.
it could have been, sure. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think I must have met him through that because there was a couple times, a couple like radio festivals and stuff like that that I've been around them performing that music.
It's crazy because like I didn't know his name was like 2 years ago. And I'm like, oh, this guy's from Florida. I had no idea, and I'm thinking like
What part of Florida?
Miami.
Really?
That's why I thought you
Wait,
probably
say the
knew
name
him.
again, man.
DJ Chipman.
Bro, I've never heard that name.
And it's crazy because like they did peanut butter jelly on Family Guy. Like I don't know who else from Florida made it on Family Guy. Like he's all over the place. He had the ice creamy cake on like a commercial one time. The Wu-Tang everything. So
Well,
I
props
thought
to him, man.
yeah I thought you maybe would know more about him since he's from Miami and he's
My
a
bad
DJ.
that I don't know. I feel terrible.
But yeah, DJ Chipman, he's a legend. Also, something that came from Miami that has influenced Florida, and I would say probably the last 5 years. Definitely, it got up here to North Florida fast, and that's fast music. I don't know exactly when that started or how that started, but I know it started in like the Miami area. So I don't know if you can give me a little bit of history on how people
Calling
start
it
speed music up.
fast music?
You know how people speed music up and have it like
Yeah,
going really fast, like. And that's a Miami thing. People attribute that to Miami. So
for sure.
I didn't
For
know
sure.
if you had any history on that or whatnot, but I was
I
always
mean,
curious about that.
I mean, if you ask me personally, I never called it or knew of it as fast music.
Hmm.
And I know we got different forms of music that went out of Miami for forever. But I'm going back to the era of like DJ Uncle Al,
Yeah.
Pony Express, and those guys, like, and the way that they were doing stuff. Like, a lot of people outside of Miami or even outside I'll say just outside of Miami. That was definitely a Miami thing. They didn't understand that kind of DJ culture. And I've actually been to battles where the sound sets battled each other, which was Ghetto Style DJ. Was it Ghetto Style? I think it was Ghetto Style DJs and Jam Pony Express battle. I think. I'm not 100% sure. But it was so epic when I tell you that I don't even think I went in, even though I loved what they were doing, I don't think I appreciated it until I saw it. And they were speeding up all the tracks, of course, and that's so you could dance to it
Yeah.
because of the way booty dancing in Miami, you got to shake your ass fast. So that's why they all sped it up to a certain BPMs, and then they would cut off the music. I'm sure and then they would do like their own rhymes,
Yeah.
the little parts of it, and it was just so in pocket. The DJ's not only DJing, he's also performing at the same time. I was blown away, man, and these guys to me are legends, and I wish that. And I mean, I don't know, maybe you're saying it is making a comeback. I don't think that specific style of DJing is making a comeback.
Fast music has taken over Florida.
But with the DJ style to it?
Yes, it's a dude named DJ Fede actually. So it's called Fast Music 954. Fast Music 954 is probably one of the most popular things in Florida right now. And they speed up all of every
You put me
music.
on to a lot of things right now, man. Thank you.
Hey man, it's crazy. So Fast Music 954, they speed up every single song, and one of their main DJs, dude named DJ Fede, and like he's one of the more known DJs in that crew. And yeah, he
Right.
just speeds up everything, and like they're mainly like on SoundCloud, and they post how they mix on SoundCloud. And kid you not, I know more songs that sounds fast than they actually sound at their normal BPM.
Right.
Like I can hear the normal BPM, like, oh, that's what that really sounds like, because I only heard it the way Fast Music 954 sped it up. So
Right.
yeah, Fast Music 954 is probably one of the more 954 is what, Broward? No, that's
Yeah, that's Broward.
That's
That's Broward
Broward.
County.
So yeah, Broward County, they have taken the Florida realm by storm. So yeah, shout out Fast Music 954.
That's good.
They're
You know,
doing a thing.
On a recent Drink Champs, I believe it's a recent one. I think it was with Paul Wall. We talk about how Texas and lean culture and Screw, DJ Screw, Recipe Screw, how they slowed everything down because they were on the lean and all that stuff. And I was saying, yeah, Miami, we sped it up. And I'm starting to think maybe we sped that up maybe because of the cocaine. I don't know, because cocaine gets you revved up. So maybe that was the drug that made that happen, and they had their shit, which was the lean.
That was the same question I had. I said, why does Texas slow their music and we speed our music? I always wondered that. That was the thing. I mean, I would imagine lean was why they like slowed it down, but I was like, why? That's exactly why. Okay.
Yeah, because it sounded like better to them when they slowed it down when they were on lean. Now it became its own thing where you didn't have to be on lean.
Yeah.
It became a sound for them. But I believe that is exactly the reason why they did it.
Hey man, I did lean one time on accident. Worst day of my life, man. So I don't want to. Man, I was at school and they were drinking this drink, and I was like, "What is good?" So they said, Eric, get some. I said, no, I'm not really thirsty. So he said, hey, watch it real quick. So I'm thinking it's Gatorade. So I'm like, let me try it out. So I'm drinking it. I'm like, yo, this is amazing. So I drink the whole thing. And he comes back, he says, why did you drink all my drink? I said, bro, I'll buy you some more Gatorade. He said, nigga, that's not Gatorade. I said, was it Powerade? He said, no, nigga, that's lean. I said, nigga, what? Man, I'm talking about we in lunch. So next period, nigga, we in gym. I'm playing basketball in slow motion. I'm like shooting. I'm falling all over the ground. They was like, yeah, what's wrong with that guy? He was like, I went to school with a whole bunch of Asian people. So they're like, yeah, what's wrong with you, dude? Ah, crazy dude. Eric is so wicked. And I'm like, yo, I'm gone. So that was a ridiculous day in my life. But yeah, I think cocaine might have been the reason that Florida people split up
Might
their
have been,
abusing.
man. Might have been.
And yeah, I mean, I feel like it's only natural for us to talk about drink champs. But before we get too deep into that, I want to talk about how Noriega definitely you maybe get him a bag recently, man. I watched y'all interview on No Jumper, and it was the part. Remember, he was saying he's he took offense to Kanye doing an interview with what's the white dude name?
The dude from Apple, was it?
Yeah,
No.
the UK dude, whatever his name is, that
Yeah.
guy. And he was like, he put out classic hip hop albums, used to come to drink champs or whatnot. So I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm not as much as a legend as Noriega, so I can't put that on my resume. Like, I gave y'all CNN, like I ain't give y'all niggas nothing. But what I can say is, I wasn't gonna say this on public, but hey, whatever. I say it anyway. Rolling Loud, one of the biggest things that happens in Miami every year now. So they had Brittany Renner, which is just like an Instagram model chick, doing the interviews out there at Rolling Loud. I think it was last year, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm not gonna lie, I felt like Noriega. I took offense to that
Right.
because I do public interviews, and I went viral a couple times with it, like doing little funny questions, and of course I do regular interviews with people. So I thought like, wow, man, he should really have somebody in the hip hop culture doing those interviews because one, I get it let her do the interviews. You get views, you get this, you get that,
Right.
but you're not. That's not longevity. You know what I'm saying? Like if you have Kanye go to Drink Champs, that's gonna live on. I don't know what's gonna happen on the episode. That's gonna live on 30, 60 years from now. People going that's
Yeah.
gonna be a crazy
For
interview.
sure.
So like I could just see myself doing those type of interviews, and I know the way my personality is, I could just have that going crazy. And not even me. There's other people that's in the hip hop community that should be doing that at Rolling Loud, and not somebody like Brittany Renner. That's no hate on her, but she's not a journalist and she's not in
Right.
the hip hop community. So shout out to Noriega, man. He had me feeling myself. I was like, ah, man, it's certain people in hip hop that needs the respect and needs the,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
He feels strongly about that, and I get it. I feel strongly about it too. Not as strong probably as him, but I agree. I mean, look, the thing is that sometimes some of these artists, especially the bigger artists, they're not even trying to do interviews anymore.
Yeah.
Like they're just over because sometimes they put their foot in their mouths and they're like, "Why am I gonna go do an interview and then fuck myself up?" So I might as well just do one big interview with. And usually, if it's an Apple thing, it's tied into a deal with Apple. There's some kind of back end situation with their streaming music. Something's happening there. It's not just because they want to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I mean, unfortunately, that's where we're at nowadays, and I do wish that a lot of these artists would at least if they're gonna do it, balance it out, man. Have a good amount, a couple of good hip hop outlets, and it doesn't have to be Drink Champs, and then do your mainstream stuff because you have that audience as well, and it's just beneficial for them as well. Just balance it out. That's my whole thing. It's just balance. Balance solves all the problems. You can just balance shit out.
That's a fact. I definitely agree with you. And I definitely agree with him. I feel like some stuff should be kept. How can I say, like in house almost. Like
Yeah.
we don't need to go out and find people in other genres or other forms of entertainment to do what's hip hop. You know what I'm saying? So we don't need to have Kanye interviewed by GQ magazine when you got a Noriega or you got a Joe Budden podcast and people who've done a lot for hip hop. So
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that. And I think that wraps back to what you were saying about how when hip hop gets bigger, it gets too commercialized sometime, and that's the downfall or whatever. What do you think like so far in hip hop has been like the biggest strike to it from it being commercialized?
I mean, it just goes back to what I was saying before, in terms of like not even knowing what is hip hop anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if you saw the recent episode we put out with Ray J and Styles P was on it.
I didn't see that yet. I didn't see
You
that
should
yet.
check that one out.
Okay.
Towards the end of the episode, we have like a conversation about love and hip hop, And then I had this opinion. I'm not a big fan of the show. No strike to them doing it and the people that
Mm-hmm.
do it. I know a lot of the artists on it. I respect. I know some of the executives or behind the scene production people. Um, but I just never been a fan of it. And then we were discussing, and I just said my whole thing is that they're calling it love and hip hop. So when that goes out to people out there that maybe are new to hip hop or are trying to look to the states, to the U.S. because they're always modeling hip hop after what we're doing because we're the ones that started hip hop. They're looking at this saying, "Oh, this is hip hop." And my thing is like, where in love and hip hop do you see graffiti, breakdancing, an MC that's spitting like the illest lyrics, or just showing a producer, doing his craft, digging through the crates? It's to me, it should just be called, lovers that like hip hop. Like it's just, and so that to me is what's happening overall in hip hop is like hip hop's being like plundered. Like it's just like it's being used. It's like a licensing problem. Like it's just being thrown everywhere, wherever you can attach. And then you have like corporations that in the past. See, I also remember the era where even black music industry did not fuck with hip hop.
Mm.
You know, like BET, these different organizations. It's like, and you had the government, you had people in the government
Yeah.
that like remember C. Dolores. I mean, I don't remember if you're this far back, but C. Dolores Tucker and different people that they're anti hip hop, and so my thing is that now everybody's like, oh shit, hip hop's this money juggernaut.
Mm.
It could get you. Maybe it could get you votes if you're a politician. It could get you views and likes. Hip hop is so big. There's so many things that are hip hop that people don't even know because it's just permeated everything. You could watch CNN and they're saying slang on there like
Yeah.
it's normal. Like they're saying props and mad this and different. They're using slang all day long on their hip hop slang, and you're just like, and it's normal now. It's not. It's normal English. So that's just my thing. It's just been diluted to the point where it's like you can't even recognize hip hop. Like, what is hip hop? And so then you have to ask yourself, what the fuck is hip hop now?
Yeah.
Like, is it really hip hop anymore? It's just music. And it goes back to like the Apple. I always tell people like the iPod and all that. That was a part of the change because when people started to like add playlists with all kinds, they had access to all kinds of music. They started, then you had like these kids in Middle America or these kids that weren't necessarily hip hop heads. They would have like hip hop songs in their playlists, and then they'd have like their other songs. Not to say that we can't all love all kinds of music, because I love all kinds of music. Good music, period. But what I'm trying to say is when you couldn't identify as a hip hop head anymore, that's when things started to change. You're just like, I like hip hop. What is hip hop? I don't know. It's just rap music. But rap is the music of hip hop.
Yeah.
You tell that to somebody right now, they'd be like, "What? I don't know what the fuck you're talking about." So yeah, hip hop is just totally diluted. It's changed, but there's still good things in hip hop. Like again, I don't want to be that guy that's always saying it was better, because look, man, like I think we got some of the best artists in hip hop today. Like at least for me personally, like, I'm looking at a Kendrick and a J. Cole. Jay's still doing it strong. Kanye, I don't care what people say. All the antics of Kanye, I love Kanye. You know what I'm saying? I don't like his antics sometimes. I don't like some of the shit he's talking about, but I think as an artist, fucking amazing. So I think some of the best music, some of the best artists in hip hop are here today, right now.
That's a fact. I mean, the only thing we can hope is that this decade is just, everything gets better. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I mean, you can just hope that everything that like, personally I love, that, like, hip-hop gets better. I'm a sports fan, so hopefully sports gets better. My teams got eliminated from the playoffs, so it's not starting off too great for me right now. And, the Dolphins actually beat us this year, so, I mean, hey, man, shout out to Miami Dolphins. But, yeah, I don't know. I really hope that everything just gets better. But, before we get out of here, I have to ask, because it looks like it's a lot of fun. It looks like you guys just have a lot of fun on Drink Champs. Right? It looks like when we do Drink Champs, you guys are just having a blast. Am I right in assuming that?
Yeah, for the most part, when we're in it, we're having a blast. Don't get it twisted though. Anything that you do consistently after a while that ends up giving you a paycheck becomes work.
Of course, yeah.
No matter what, no matter how fun it looks or how much fun it actually is, once you do deals and there's money to be made, it becomes a job. Yeah. And then the job has its downside because now you have to do it.
Is there like anything like, like when you get at a certain level, you can't say certain stuff, or when you sign certain deals, it's like, let's push back on saying that. As Drink Champions got bigger, has that happened?
Very minimal. I'm not gonna lie to you and say that it doesn't or it
Mm-hmm.
hasn't. There's sometimes some minor stupid things like if we're with we're with Revolt and we have Ciroc, we're not gonna we're not gonna bring another vodka
Yeah.
because out of respect to Ciroc's a part of this whole situation, or we're not gonna diss our partners, you know like. But it's very minor. I would say that we're pretty raw still. Like sometimes people say we change with Revolt. I don't really see the change other than sometimes the set looks a little different, but the rawness is still there. But again, what happens is when you have to produce content consistently, it's gonna be inconsistent, especially when you're drinking. I told you we're a fucking drunk show. It's not like we're all over the place, and some days we're good, and some days we're bad, and we're on it. You're gonna consistently get the inconsistency, and that's why early on I created a tagline for us called the most professional unprofessional podcast, because I already knew what we were gonna be,
Yeah.
and I wanted to explain it from the gate. Like we're professional because we're gonna get this content out, but we're the most unprofessional motherfuckers, doing it, the professional shit.
Is
So yeah, so I mean, and that and also I think also what we tried to started thinking about as time's gone on, as the audience gone bigger, is that maybe sometimes there is more weight to our words because we talk so freely and we talk so raw and we're politically incorrect like crazy, that sometimes we got to say, hey, maybe we shouldn't say something that affects people in a different way, and
Yeah.
they might take it and run, even to the point of drinking as much as we do. Like sometimes I can only speak for myself. I reflect, I have a daughter now, and I'm about to have another child, and I say to myself, damn, like I hope that there's not someone struggling with alcoholism or substance abuse, that our show kind of keeps them in that funk, like or encourages them to continue to do that.
like
Like
a bad influence almost.
yeah, I don't want that. Like I don't think that's good for the culture either. We're just doing something very specific, and again, I don't know. Be responsible. If you're an adult, then be responsible, basically.
Hey man, shout out to the good influences out there. Last question for me before we get out of here, because I feel like these people are always interesting. Is there like a dream guest that you want to have that's not a part of hip hop, like somebody that could be like an actor or athlete that you guys have talked about want to get on there?
Shit, I would love to have Obama on Dream
Mm,
Champs.
that'd be
That would
crazy.
be
A
amazing.
drunk Obama would be wild.
He'd be wild. I almost feel like he'd have a couple drinks with us, and he'd say some ill shit. But I would love to have any of these politicians that are running. I would love to have on the show, because I think how they usually when they're running for office, they go and they have a beer with someone, trying to act like they're like the homie. Come on, Drink Champs, and really prove that to the world.
Somebody that I feel like y'all could get and is not like far out the realm is the Asian dude, the Andrew Yang. I feel like
Really, you
Andrew.
think he would come on Drink
I
Champs?
mean, Andrew Yang has been doing some very interesting. Like he's commented and said things that haven't heard presidents like comment and say. Like when it was a dude on SNL, he made like an Asian joke. It was like a racist Asian joke or
Yeah, I
whatever.
remember.
He
Yeah.
got fired, and Yang was like, "Yeah, I guess it was stupid," but he was like, "It's freedom of speech. He shouldn't have got fired for that." So like
Yeah.
for a president saying like, "Oh, like I'm like for like." Not for it, but like I'm not against people using their freedom of speech. You guys say crazy stuff on there, so it's not like he would
Right.
be like, you guys are too wild, because he's condoned things that were a little wild or whatnot, and
Right.
he's a rap fan. Like I think he's like put out like it was like an old yearbook picture of what he used to listen to. He like rap back in the day in high school, so I don't know. Maybe he's a Noriega fan. Who knows? Like
Yeah. Who knows?
I
That'd
don't
be
know.
dope.
I don't know how would y'all pull that off, but if y'all could, I think that'd be epic. I think that would be
Yeah. I
epic,
mean,
man.
my thing with Drink Champs is I'm open to having anybody on the show that loves the culture and
Yeah.
can have a conversation about hip hop. And it doesn't have to be all about hip hop, because if we bring a politician, I would love to talk about other shit. But it'd be cool to have that, them also relate to the culture and talk about what they love about hip hop, or their favorite music or whatever, And I'm open to anybody personally, man. That as long as they respect the culture.
All right, man. Is there anything else you guys say before we get out of here? I don't want to keep it for too long.
Yeah, man. I'd like. I don't know if you've checked it out, but in this conversation we talked about like where it's gone or where it's going, the culture, this, that, and the other. And one of the things that I've been doing that really inspires me and keeps me inspired is that I have this film series called Coming Home. I don't know if you ever heard me talk about it.
I've heard
And
you mention it. I don't think I've ever actually played
yeah,
that though.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
you should
definitely
check
peep
it
it.
out at
Definitely.
crazyhood.com/film. They aired a lot. A lot of them. I'm on my sixth. I'm finishing my sixth episode, which is we went to South Africa. We basically go to different countries, and it's like Anthony Bourdain but hip hop,
Okay.
and we explore the country through hip hop culture, through the scope of hip hop culture. And what I'm usually the reason why I get inspired is because I'm going to these countries, and a lot of times the hip hop scene is in its infancy for them, and it's still like on the underground level, and it just reminds me where early on why I fell in love with hip hop and like just just seeing these people just have just loving the art form and loving the culture and not for money and that it just reinvigorates me when I come back. And we went to Cuba was the first one because I was following my family roots. Then we went to Peru, we went to Haiti, we went to Vietnam. Those four came out on Revolt past few years, and we won some like film festival.
Vietnam has a rap scene.
Huge rap scene. The
That's
biggest
crazy.
well, no, hip hop scene.
Hip hop scene.
I would say more hip hop in general because the b-boying is really big out there.
Really.
B-boys and b-girls because, and talking to them, they told us when hip hop came over there, they didn't understand the lyrics, so the best way they can interpret hip hop was to dance to the music.
Mm.
But now they have their own MCs. We met a dope, huge MC in Vietnam called Saboy, female MC, amazing. She's like sponsored by Adidas. She's like been in magazines. She's huge. She's huge in Asia. And we just went to South Africa and we're finishing that one, editing that one, and just check it out. It's called Coming Home, and you can see through our eyes, the hip hop culture in these different countries and see them and how they're doing it. And some places graffiti's big, and some places the MCs are big, some places the b-boys, the turntable. You'll see what of the culture really spoke to the different countries and the different people and how it's evolving, and some of the negative side of hip hop, like the gang culture has been exported in some of these places where they kind of attach themselves to the whole gang stuff, where that's kind of like the negative influence we've had. So yeah, check it out, man. crazyhood.com/film, and it's called Coming Home.
Nah, I definitely. Hey, I want everybody else to check it out. I'm definitely interested in that because you hear about you hear about the Western rap scene all the time, but you don't really hear about Vietnam or Cuba or I think you said Haiti too, right? Like you don't
Yeah,
ever
Haiti's huge, yeah.
you don't ever hear about that. You know what I'm saying? You may hear about Haitian rappers that live in America, but not
No,
actual
no,
people
Haiti,
that's from
yeah.
Haiti. So that's something I'm definitely going to check out. For everybody watching, I appreciate you guys. Hopefully, soon you may see Noriega on here too. You get the full
Yeah,
drink champs, thing going on.
I'll
So,
let them know.
hey man, let them know. So until next time, for everybody watching, I say what I mean what I say. Haters are gonna hate, players are gonna play, and you guys holla at your boy.